What is up, guys? My name is Andrew and welcome back to Planet Coaster episode number 9, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of scenery work before we do anything else. So first things first, I decided that I should probably do time lapses of any of the scenery editing from here on out, because it does take quite a while to do any scenery editing. So I think that's a pretty good idea. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below on if you like this style or not, where I do the time lapse of the scenery editing plus a voiceover. So what I'm doing here is I figured out that the railroad looked a little bit wonky, and the reason I say that is because in real life you wouldn't have a railroad that's always on stilts, because stilts are expensive, and furthermore you wouldn't have a railroad that goes up a very steep incline because trains are heavy and they can't do that very well. So I basically wanted to redo the railroad so that it was a little bit smoother than I had it before. And so we're redoing that bridge. I also wanted to move the station a little bit farther from where everything was, since we did want to put kind of a pirate zone over in that area. So the other thing I figured out, or that I kind of noticed with the train station, is that the railroad tracks wouldn't kind of run through the lake as it did before. Instead, they would steer clear of the lake, because where the lake is, it's typically a bit softer ground, and you don't want a railroad kind of slipping into mud or anything like that. One last look on the railroad to make sure everything looks nice, and I decided to expand the lake a little bit. I didn't like that it kind of looked like a mushroom kind of thing, so I figured I'd try to maybe make the lake a little bit larger. And I did think about moving that path a little bit, because I think it looks a little bit awkward kind of just going over the lake, but I figured it should probably just stay. Don't know what I'm doing here. Probably in the other monitor. I think I'm in the other monitor trying to figure out what a train station looks like from the old era. So the idea was that I wanted to make this whole area a pirate area where we could have pirate things, and so I wanted to make a pirate themed train station, but I couldn't find what that would look like. So I ended up deciding that a normal kind of an old west themed station would look a little bit better. So first things first, I just put some concrete on the station to make it look a little bit nicer. I don't really like the carnival style that Planet Coaster gives the whole area, and also I know that I want to make the station much bigger than it currently is, because that's very small for a train station. So might as well put on kind of an even flooring. So duplicate that so I can make another thing. If you look at train stations on Google and what they look like, they're never just one little train station. Typically there's 2 lines or more. A lot of train stations have lots of lines. So I wanted to make a second kind of train area that could appear. To put tracks down, I wanted to, well, I knew I needed tracks there, but I didn't know how to get the correct size tracks. The only ones they have in scenery are much larger than the original tracks. Now, if I had unlimited money, remember this is a challenge mode game, so I don't have unlimited money. But if I had unlimited money, I could essentially create another train station somewhere else, and then just route the train over to my station so that I would have tracks. But for now, we're just going to work with kind of what we have here. Do a little bit of terrain editing here to try and make it look like it's on the ground, because train tracks have a problem with them just kind of floating in there. I don't typically worry about lighting that much, but I figured, I mean, looking at the pictures of old train stations, they always had these lights kind of in the middle, and so I figured I would add them. But then of course I decided that these were a little bit too many, so I went back and deleted a couple of them and just kept them like that. So I believe we're about to move on to the building. Nope, we're going over the yellow line. So since I added this second train station area, I needed kind of a yellow line like the other one has. So I decided to completely redo the yellow line and just have it on, just put it on all 4 areas that needed to go. I noticed the train was clipping a little bit through it, but I figured probably wouldn't matter too much. So now it's about time to work on the building. And the building is probably the trickiest part, because up to now all we've been doing is putting down platform kind of thing. So the kind of style that I wanted to go with was kind of a building where you could go and get your tickets, and then also a little bit of room on the station for kind of waiting for the train. So that's what I did. I went with kind of a brick style as well for the station, because I wanted to kind of be an old-timey kind of station rather than anything modern. So I figured brick is probably the oldest kind of thing that we have other than wood. But since it's such a big place, I don't think it'd be made out of wood. It'd be more like brick. So kind of forgot what I'm doing here, but I think what we want to do is we want to add some sort of supports out on the front. And the reason that the roof kind of overhangs the front a little bit is because we wanted to have kind of a roof cover so that if people were waiting for a train, for instance, they could be protected from the elements, the rain and such. So if you look at a lot of pictures, this is how they do it as well. They have kind of the roof from the station just carries out a little bit more onto the platform so that anyone who's waiting there is protected from the rain. So I really like the corrugated roof, I believe it's called, for this, because it gives it that kind of old, almost like a repurposed warehouse kind of feel. And I think that's good for what we're going for here. A couple of posts for supports, got to be realistic here. Otherwise everything's going to fall, but I don't know, it looks pretty good. So in those little areas right there where I'm working right now, I did want to add kind of a ticket booth where you could get tickets from the outside. So the idea was that you could get tickets from the inside, but you could also get tickets from the outside. Kind of if you're waiting for the train, you're like, shoot, I have the wrong ticket. You could really fast go over there and grab a ticket. Now, really new to Planet Coaster is these windows that they've added, and I thought I'd use them, try and get them to look nice. And the kind of ticket booth style that I was going for was more like it wasn't really more like a train station ticket booth. I was thinking more of a movie theater kind of thing, and this is kind of how they do it. They've got the little slot there where you can put money in and receive your tickets. So I figured that a train station would probably look the same as that. Although, I mean, I can count on one hand the number of times I've been to a train station. And the pictures that I had didn't show how a ticket booth was set up. So, but I think it turns out looking pretty good. And of course, the bordering, we had to find something small enough to kind of fit that border. And I really wish there was something thinner that we could use, but unfortunately, we couldn't find anything that suited it. A couple of wording, or a little bit of wording here for the tickets. We pushed back the frame there so that we could only have the word tickets being shown. And of course, if we're going to have the exterior, might as well have the interior for these ticket places. Didn't go into very much detail on the interior, just the basic stuff. For instance, they'd have a desk that they would work at, and that's pretty much it. We really didn't go very much into the interior rather. I think someone knocked on my door at that moment right there. That's why we were just paused there for a second. And then we noticed that little glitch there. Actually, maybe we haven't noticed it yet. Oh yeah, we definitely noticed it. There's a little glitch there where the wooden wall tries to clip through the brick wall, and I didn't know how to fix that, so we ended up just kind of going with a weird little workaround with columns instead. I wanted to add a sort of side paneling to the whole building, so I decided to go with this. I don't know what it is originally. It's like a weird little post thing that you can have sitting up or something. I don't know what it is, but I think it looks pretty good for the side paneling. The only problem is that it doesn't really, it's not really continuous very much. It's got that little post on the side, so it's a little bit difficult to get it to look good when it comes to like uneven edges and such. But I think it ends up looking pretty nice. We got to add in that little top part so it doesn't look bare, and then I think we're gonna be pretty good as far as the walling goes. We do some work on the interior. Well, not there yet, but we are going to do some work on the interior in a second, where we're going to try and get because we want the path to go in the building. We want to go through the building, so we're going to do a little bit of work on that. Name the station Pirate Land. I don't know. I don't know what a good pirate name is, but here we go. We're going to work on the paths here, trying to get the interior paths to look good. And unfortunately, I didn't think of this before putting the roof on. And once you put the roof on a building, it's a little bit difficult to actually get inside the building to work on it. So here we had another problem. The walls were a bit too thick for the actual size that we needed. So again, I used the columns to try and kind of work around that and get the whole thing looking pretty nice. I wanted a door on this because it felt bare when it was open. So I added this door, and I just kind of folded it open a little bit so it looked like it was a door that had been opened, like a double door that had been pushed open for the guests to go in. And then at night, maybe someone would come through and they would close those doors and no one would be able to get in. So I thought that looked pretty good. Actually, come to think of it, we do add another entrance later that I didn't go through and do that for. So maybe I'll go through that a little bit later and try and do that. I wanted a railing here, like just a basic railing where guests would kind of file in if they were coming in to grab their tickets. But I didn't want that railing to go through the whole area. I wanted to just to put it at the start there. I didn't really know what to fill this small little area with. I mean, I found a piano and I thought it looked nice, but I was also thinking of putting some chairs there, maybe some benches that we could use, but I wasn't 100% sure how to do that. Now back to what I was saying with the fence. I didn't want that normal fence to kind of go through the whole place because I thought it looked a little bit tacky. So I decided that maybe it'd be pretty cool if we had just posts with standard posts with rope on them to kind of push the guests where you want them to go, or kind of guide them where you want to go. So the idea is that they would have these posts there, and then the posts they could change the rope if they wanted to change around the path or where they wanted people to go. So maybe before this was part of a theme park, the whole area was kind of open, and then they added in these posts to kind of make it into a line. Unfortunately, I had quite a bit of trouble trying to figure out how to get these posts and the rope to work, but we do eventually figure out in the end, so no worries. It just takes a bit of time to do that. And so I was trying to make a blueprint of part of the post and the rope so that I could duplicate it easily. But I'm kind of new to all this scenery editing, so there's a lot of silly things that I try to do that doesn't really work out in the end. So you'll see that this miserably fails. It doesn't work at all, and we have to start all over. But no worries. It just took me a long time to get that rope kind of balanced properly. But there we go. You can see we're trying the blueprint, and nope, it doesn't work properly. Well, it kind of does, but I thought it was a bit too much work for what we needed. So we then just go back in and do it the old-fashioned way. We get that rope situated, then we just duplicate the things using the multi-select tool, and then we can go in and just duplicate the whole thing over. I was a bit questioning on what I could do right here because I wanted the rope to kind of go up that middle part, the middle path part as well, but I didn't really know how to get the posts and the ropes to kind of fit there. So what I decided to do is just have one rope kind of linked to it so the guests couldn't just cut through the line. And of course, you got a little place where all the rope would go, the excess rope, for if you wanted to rope off any more stuff. I decided to redo the path because I didn't like the railing that there is there. I didn't like that it has that railing there because it starts to look a little bit weird. And furthermore, what I wanted to do is I wanted to kind of raise the path a little bit because at the current moment the path was too low, and so basically guests' knees would only show when they were walking. You'd only see their knees showing. So I wanted to raise the path a little bit. I finally decided that it's probably a good idea to add an entrance so they're not walking through the wall. So I decided on this cool little archway kind of thing, but it's not that. It's not that big. That's where I said I wanted to go back and add the doors as well, so it looks a little bit more realistic. Now I wanted a cool little Alpine Adventures kind of signage, a sign here. So I wanted it to say Alpine Adventures Rail Co, like rail company. And there's this cool little trick that you can do with the signs where you can push them back a little bit, and a lot of the sign won't show, but the text will. Unfortunately, what happened here is that Alpine Adventures is apparently too long for the signs, so we just said Alpine Adventure and then added an S to the end of that. It does look a little bit weird if you look at it up close, but I think from far it looks really good. Now we want to say Alpine Adventures Rail Co for rail company, and so we did a little sign trick, and there we go, Alpine Adventures Rail Co. Do a little quick save so we don't lose all our progress, and add some windows. I didn't want to go crazy overboard on the windows here. Probably just a couple of them, since they could add in some natural light, I thought. And typically a modern rail station would have these big windows, modern looking glass windows and such, but an old-timey rail station would have just a couple of small windows scattered about. Going for the exit, I decided it'd be best to kind of route the people around the back. And when I did the exit, I actually figured out that I could have the path higher than it was before, so I went back and completely redid the path, although I did have a little bit of trouble when it came to getting around these bends, since we couldn't use the grid select for the path, because that's what caused problems in the first place. I realized I did that whole path as a normal path instead of a line path, so we had to go through and do it once again. But eventually we do get it to work and everything is good. A little bit of trouble there, but finally we got the path to connect. Planet coaster paths are a little bit weird. I wanted to add a fence here because, I mean, seeing as the people are going along the water, they need a fence. You can't just have them, expect them not to fall in. Remember, these are people. You're going to get lawsuits. So we add a little fence right here, and I think it looks pretty old-timey and rustic. It looks really cool. Continue that fence along the other side as well, all the way up to the station, because you don't want people falling off the station either. So once again, we're going to continue that fence all the way around. That's what I decided. I wasn't going to do it initially, but I figured probably, I mean, if they had that fence in some places, they'd probably have it going all the way around so people don't sort of fall over into the snow. That would be a disaster, wouldn't it? A little bit of rope here. I mean, I figure that wouldn't always be roped off. Maybe staff would be allowed to go through there to get to the ride quickly, but we don't want guests just kind of sneaking in that way. So a little bit of rope there. Figured we should do a kind of connect it to the ground as well. I mean, you can't have a floating thing. And also I thought the concrete looked really good against the water when you kind of put it like that. I think we're getting kind of close to the end of the time lapse. I'm just looking for a couple of props to put up. I didn't want I thought the station looked a little bit bare without any other props. So I figured, I don't know, I maybe add a cart here. Does that look too tacky, having a little cart there? I mean, how would the cart even get up there with those fences? But I mean, I thought it looked, maybe they'd have like a luggage cart or something. I decided to add another train onto the other track. I don't know if that's gonna stay. I might take that one off and leave the other track just normal. American flag, probably not. I repurposed this this minecart to look just like a standard crate. So if we had more luggage items, maybe we could throw some stuff around. But for now, we don't have very much kind of lying on the station ready to be brought, except for these barrels. But once again, I was looking for a couple more props to kind of put there, and I couldn't really find much. Just a couple of crates lying around, and that's it. So this should be towards the end. That's what Alpine Adventures looks like, and that's pretty much the end of the time lapse. Let's cut to a real-time moment. If you like the time lapse, definitely tell me, and I'll keep doing this sort of thing. So time for the real time. What did you think of the cool little time lapse with the voiceover? I saw that. Well, I probably talked about it during the time lapse because I do want to voice over those time lapses, but I did see other YouTubers doing that kind of style, and I really liked it, so I wanted to try it out for myself. So tell me what you think about that down in the comments. I think that's probably a really good way to do things because scenery is cool to see, and I do want to show it off because it's really cool to actually work with scenery and make cool looking things like what we've just done here. But it's very difficult to actually show it off because it just takes such a long time. That fast forwarded time lapse that we just saw was about 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes of time just to build this building. So you could imagine, I'm not going to put out a 2-hour long video. That'd be just insane. So definitely tell me what you think about that. And I guess, well, maybe next episode we'll work on a little bit of scenery for this right here, because the idea here, and I probably talked about this in the time lapse as well, since I'll be recording the voiceover after this, when I've finally edited some of that down. What we've probably done is, or what we want to do is we want to add some trees here as well, so that there's so it looks like the track actually goes somewhere, but we don't actually want to have a separate track. It's only there for the scenery. So what I want to do in this real-time part is I thought probably best to do the time lapses in, or the scenery in time lapses, and then the ride building would be done in real time. So, well, before we do any ride building, I want to take a look at our money because that actually took a lot of money. And what I might do is I might start another park that's in unlimited money mode where we can actually focus on scenery like we've just done, and that way we won't have to worry about money because that costs like $2,000, and so in challenge mode it's not ideal to be doing stuff like that, but I definitely still want to do it. So let's take a look at our money. I want to make sure that we're actually making money on everything. Your last month's profit was not great, but that is imaginable, and that's what we want to fix in this episode. We want to add a little bit of, or a couple of attractions here before we sign off for today, so that hopefully people will start coming over here a bit more often. Since, well, typically these water rides do cost a lot of money, and the reason for that is because their water. They have to have running water all the time, and water is very expensive to move around. To get water from here to here, actually, well, it shouldn't be that difficult because we don't need water up here. We only need it down here. So the waterworks would not be that bad. Although to keep this water flowing, it would be a bit expensive, and to keep it clean. And that's why our log flume over there is probably underperforming by quite a margin. No, actually, it's making quite a bit of a profit, so that's good. Good on you, log flume. Although you're not full. Are people just not going on you anymore? What do they say? The queue is long? It doesn't look that long. Okay. All right, let's take a gander at our other rides to see how they're doing. You're not making much profit. Well, any profit at all. You look like you're probably still making quite a bit. Yeah, you're doing good. You're an established ride, which means that your prestige is starting to wear off. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad when it gets a little bit lower. So you're doing great. How about you? No one is going on you because you're old. That makes sense. It looks really old. Okay, maybe I'll lower the prices so someone actually does go on you. Well, people are going on you, I guess, because your last month profit is not that low. I mean, it's negative, but it's not that terrible. It's looking like all of our stuff is doing great. You're doing great as well. Not queuing that long. Prestige is okay. And let's check on this. All right. So I do want to work on this as well to get this ride back up and running. But these both have the same problem and basically have the same fix. And it's pretty much to add rides over there so that people go on. So we're going to be adding a couple of still rides. You don't have anyone on you. It's too expensive? Okay. Well, let's lower this down to $8 then and see if people will go on that there. We're going to add some trash cans along this as well. But let's... Oh, you know what? We didn't connect the line in the fast motion. So let's go ahead and do that real quick before we do anything else. And I haven't really decided how I want to get this area set up. So I think we're just going to kind of go with it, with the idea that it'll be a pirate-themed kind of area. Now, during the time lapse, I probably talked about it, but I couldn't think of a way to make a pirate-themed station. So the idea is going to be that you're stepping out of the station and you're coming to a pirate-themed area, rather than stepping out of a pirate-themed station, since I don't really know how to find that. But let's get this going. And by the way, post in the comments as well if you want me to do a fully time-lapsed video, like what we just did there, rather than doing this kind of real-time playing of the game. So let's do... I'm thinking this is going to be the start of the area, and it's going to be using... What would a pirate have? I mean, pirates would be like kind of wooden, I'm thinking, but is there anything else that they might use? Maybe stone? But I'm thinking straight wood. Yeah, let's do that. We'll get a big width, because we like lots of space. So let's have this be our pirate area right here. It starts out. It's gonna be along this path right here. All right, and then it'll kind of meet up with this right here, and it might meet up in a couple of other places, but this in general will be our pirate area. All right, so let's connect you up. Get our paths out. We're gonna get a normal path to connect that, and we're using this one, I think. So lower down that width a little bit. There we go. That's looking pretty good. And then we'll do the same thing for the wooden one we're using right here. Oh, I kind of like that, actually. That's looking nice. Yeah, that's looking nice. And then we could work on a little bit of signage for this. Although this might be signage enough since people would be walking right here. I don't know. Oh, you tell me. Post down in the comments. What do you think? A sign right here to advertise the rail station? Or maybe just like a small thing? I don't know. And we're not using curbs here anymore. I turned those off. Because I wanted it to be off right here, but it didn't seem to work. All right, let's get some rides in here. We're going to start with a one of these rides, kind of a pirate-themed thing. We've got a hammer swing. It's okay. I'm not seeing a whirly rig. What does that look like? No, that's not pirate. Well, that's water-themed. We could put it on this right here, on the water, kind of. Nah, I don't know. What we really need is some of the classics, like a Ferris wheel. Wait. That's a merry-go-round. A Ferris wheel. We need bumper cars, that kind of thing. But we're only going to get those if we start making a lot of money and continue our researches. You know what? Let's continue our researches. I had stopped them because we were losing a lot of money on them. But I think we can handle it. I'm not really seeing anything here that's popping out other than we could have a carousel here, but I don't really want to move it from our initial area. Teacups? I don't know. I'm trying to think what would be pirate themed. Maybe only a couple of different rides we could have over here. Like a track ride. Let's see. Could we add something here that would be pirate themed? Not really. So it seems like we're going to have to do a lot of theming around stores and stuff. So maybe instead of adding a ride right now, what we'll do is we'll just add shops and stuff. Shops and facilities. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll get... well, you're probably going to need a food, right? So we'll start with a Tiki Chiki, maybe. And I'm thinking of a food court along the beach right here. So let's get the... Well, yeah, I was going to say let's get the path situated, but let's go ahead and make a building here. And if... we'll do wood. Since it's going to be kind of along the water there. And we're looking for like a wooden platform kind of thing that we could use. And we could just go with a standard wooden platform, but is there anything better that we could use? We have a deck. We could definitely use that. Let's start with a wooden platform, and then we'll go with a deck later. Boom, boom, boom. And we're just going to go kind of out like this, just kind of like it's a dock. Let's actually start this a little bit farther out, like over here. That path looks weird. We need to change that as well. Alright, let's move you down, and we'll start you about right there. Because I don't want to be too far from the water as well. You know, if people fall in, of course, that would be a bit of a problem. Alright, what were we using? A deck? No, we were using... I forget what piece we were using. Wood, and then we have the standard... What was it? A panel or platform? Okay. So I think that's a pretty good size for a kind of deck on the water. A dock. I mean, that's a little big, but it'll be good because we'll have shops on it as well. So no worries. And okay, so that's going to be the base of it. And then we'll have a store kind of out here on the water. So let's get our... well, we'll add it to the building directly. We've got a shopping facility, and we wanted a Tiki Chiki to be right here. Food shops, Tiki Chiki. We're just going to throw it right there. And then we're going to have a drink shop as well. We're going to use the... let's see. What would people want? Probably, I'm just thinking we could have a water shop, yeah. A soda shop, I'm thinking, is probably the best. And then what else could people want on the water? I don't think anything else would be needed. A restroom, definitely. Let's have a restroom over here, just a little bit away from the food. And then we'll probably end up putting a staff building kind of over here, themed in a little bit so that the staff can get there without people wandering around. All right, let's get our path situated. We'll start with this right here, I think. And we'll select a grid. Select a grid is a bit annoying sometimes because if I place the path like this, well, I select a grid. If I place the path like this, people are going to be like half in the dock, and I can't bring it up any because then it's floating super high. Like it's not really easy to place the grid. Come on, go down. There we go. All right, there we go. There's our dock. We'll do scenery on this later in a different episode, probably in the time-lapse format like we did that over there. And yeah, I think it'll look really nice once we have some scenery going with it. But in real time, I don't really want to show you that scenery because it'll take a little bit of a long time. We do need to fill this out though, and I did say this was a bit ugly, so let's go ahead and fix that up. It does, okay, so it does look a little weird the way we have this path going over this whole water and over this ride right here. So I might consider kind of fixing that a little bit later to make it look a bit nicer. But for now, I think we'll just, we'll pretty much just keep it right there, and it should, I mean, it's a function thing. The function works, so I don't really want to change that. Let's go back in here and add, what did I want to add? Path supports, yes. Railing on ground queue. Yeah, we'll add back the railings. We don't want a railing on ground path. Okay. And then I think what we're using max, yeah. Okay, and there we go. That still looks a little weird, but it's not that bad. So eventually I think we might actually connect this to that, to the dock right here. We have like a little thing come down to it, but well, maybe not. I don't know. we will figure that out a little bit later. I want to get at least one ride. Oh, you know what? Actually, since we're kind of putting down the bare bones of stuff, let's go ahead and get our... We want a staff building over here, so let's go ahead and throw that right there so that they can go ahead and use it. And also, I want to go into that. And how do I go into a building again? There we go. Go into that. Increase the capacity to 8. What's the bit? Yeah, we can do 10. How much is that going to cost? That's not bad. And what perk do we want to give them? We can give them healthcare, entertainment. What's one that makes them get back on the job faster? Security, PR. Okay, rec room. Yeah, that's the one we want. Rec room. So that should be good. Let's confirm that. And awesome. That should work perfectly fine. So we got our staff room right there. We're going to move it around a little bit later so that we can get the scenery right, but we'll do that in a separate episode. So let's get at least one ride in here so that we can say that we actually did something. I'm thinking first we check on this stuff. Reveal our researches. Let's see what we got. Okay, we got a cool coaster. Let's see what else. Another cool coaster. Awesome. And let's see what else. A weird coaster. That looks really weird. And let's actually see if we can start some researches. What is that? Burn-in rubber? That sounds cool. Sounds like go-karts, actually, which would be super awesome. Thrill ride, family, thrill. We'll go with a... Oh, hotels. Those are new, I believe. Yeah, we'll go with a thrill ride, and then we'll go with... Coal transporter. What, like a train or something? Oh, let's go with that. Why not? And we'll let those go. Hopefully they don't eat away too much of our money. I'm really hoping. All right, let's do... one of the normal rides, and honestly I don't think any of these are going to fit really with the western area that we have, so we might just have to suck it up and go with one until we get something a little bit better. This right here is something that you'd see at a fair, I believe. I've seen some of those in my day. What is this? Insanity. Let's try and get something that's really exciting. 5.8. We already have a wild blue, don't we? I think we might go with the kickflip. Yeah, that's not terrible. I mean, we could probably theme it up and like hope that, but it's got lots of neon light. I don't know. We can probably theme it up and hope that it works out just fine. But for now, I think we'll just place it right here, maybe. Close. We'll place it close, and we'll have the exit right here, and we'll have the entrance kind of come around the side right here. So let's. I guess we have to test it. Yo, that is... Okay, this is like the most anti-pirate thing that I could find, but we'll replace it later. Okay, so we want to get a entrance. Like I said, we'll go around the back for the entrance. We'll get an exit. We'll just throw that right there. And let's get these paths situated. Alright, I think if we just kind of come around like this, and it should be all good. There we go. And when we do a scenery pass, rather, we'll just kind of get all this scened up. That should be good. Let's get the opening. How much are you? $9. What's your prestige? That's not bad. We could probably bump that up to 10 or even 12. Let's start with 12 and see what people think. Hopefully, this will kind of brush more people towards this side of the park. Oh my god, we're running out of money. Our monthly profit's down, and this probably cost us quite a bit of money. How much did you cost us, buddy? Rides. 2,000. Oh my god, we're in trouble. We might have to turn off that research for now. At least we're going to turn off the roller coaster, because the roller coaster's costing a lot. Burn-in rubber. Yeah, we'll keep that one. Although we are dangerously low here. We'll turn off burn-in rubber as well. Research. Stop. Awesome. Okay, that's looking pretty good. We definitely have our work cut out for us next episode. We're going to focus on trying to get this scenery up and this as well. We might even try to hide some of this scenery here since it looks a bit ugly. And another thing we're going to do is we're going to go in and get some trees, and we're going to see if we can kind of hide this as well, just to kind of make it seem like from anywhere that you're looking, it just kind of goes off into the wilderness a little bit. Like kind of it came from like an unknown place. And we'll do that on both sides so that guests can't. I was a little bit sad that this track was a bit bigger than this track, but I don't know. I couldn't find out how to do an alternative, but yeah, definitely post in the comments what you guys think of this, the first part, and then the second part as well, where we did real time. I want to know if you guys want me to do kind of the fast forwarded version the whole time, or if you want me to kind of stick to that, do scenery fast forwarded like that, and then do a real time kind of thing here. I don't know. Tell me down in the comments, and we will focus on that. Also, tell me if you want, or tell me if you like the idea of me starting a new park as well. Maybe in addition to this one, where we can focus more on doing scenery stuff rather than doing money stuff. Worrying about money all the time. So post down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.